The first sign of the approaching alien fleet was a strange signal, picked up by Earth's top space observatories. It wasn't anything like they had seen before. It wasn't just a random object drifting in space or a comet passing through the solar system. This was something organized, something intelligent. Earth's space agencies scrambled to analyze the signal, but nothing prepared them for what would come next. A few days later, the alien ships appeared in Earth's orbit. They came out of nowhere, silently slipping through the stars. The first humans to see them thought it was a mistake, or perhaps some strange space phenomenon. But the more they looked, the more they realized it was real. Huge, towering ships, unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Their surfaces glowed with a strange, pulsing energy, and they emitted no sound at all. As they moved closer, Earth's radar systems started to blare alarms. The ships weren't just entering Earth's atmosphere, they were slowly positioning themselves above the planet, surrounding it. The entire world held its breath. Governments and military forces went on high alert. There was panic in the streets. Some people feared an invasion was inevitable, while others thought this was a peaceful encounter, a new chapter in humanity's contact with alien civilizations. But deep down, everyone knew this wasn't just a casual visit. The alien ships were huge, easily capable of wiping out entire cities with a single strike. The world's leaders met in secret, discussing their options. The military was called into action, with Earth's best fighters and defense systems mobilized. Weapons that had been in development for years were finally brought into the light, and human forces were quickly stationed in key areas across the globe, waiting for a signal to strike. The entire world's focus shifted to the sky. But no one knew what the aliens wanted. They hadn't made any demands or communicated in any way. They simply hovered there, like silent giants in the sky. For a full day, nothing happened. The alien ships just hovered, their lights flashing in strange patterns. Some people tried to contact the ships with radio signals, sending messages of peace, but they received no response. It was as if the aliens didn't care about communicating at all. The tension grew. With every passing hour, the fear of an attack grew stronger. Earth's military commanders knew that if these aliens were hostile, humanity would be helpless against their superior technology. And then, without warning, the aliens struck. At exactly midnight, Earth's defense systems were scrambled by a sudden, unrelenting assault. The first wave came from the sky. Powerful beams of energy fired down from the alien ships, tearing apart Earth's satellites and defense towers like they were made of paper. For the first time, humans realized how powerless they were against the advanced technology of these invaders. The defense systems that Earth had spent decades building were useless in the face of this overwhelming force. As the beam strikes rained down, cities below were plunged into chaos. People ran for cover, panicked, unsure of where to go or what to do. The lights flickered, power grids went down, and massive explosions echoed in the streets. The sky above Earth became a war zone, filled with bright flashes and destructive blasts. But even as the panic spread, there was something strange about the aliens' attack. The beams they fired were powerful, yes, but they weren't aimed directly at the ground. They seemed to be hitting Earth's satellites and defense networks, as if the aliens were testing Earth's response. There was no real destruction of cities, no full-scale invasion. Yet, Earth's military responded quickly, launching fighter jets into the sky, hoping to hit the alien ships with their own weapons. But the jets barely made a dent. The alien ships were too fast, too advanced. They moved with a precision that Earth's fighters couldn't match. Each time a jet approached, the alien ships seemed to effortlessly avoid them. For hours, the battle continued in the skies, with Earth's forces trying and failing to land a hit on the invaders. By the early morning, it became clear this was no ordinary battle. The aliens were testing Earth's defenses. They didn't seem to be interested in destroying Earth completely. Not yet, anyway. Instead, they were gathering information, learning how Earth would react to their presence. Every move the humans made seemed to be anticipated. It was as if the aliens knew exactly how to counter any effort Earth made. Back on the ground, human leaders were desperate. They could feel the weight of the moment. If this was the beginning of a full-scale invasion, humanity might not survive. There were no reinforcements on the way, and Earth's allies were still too far away to help. It was just them now, humanity, standing alone against an enemy far more powerful than anything they had ever imagined. But even in the midst of the chaos, there was one glimmer of hope. A young pilot, a member of Earth's military, managed to make contact with the alien fleet. Through a strange twist of fate, the pilot's ship, damaged and nearly out of fuel, flew close enough to one of the alien ships to catch its attention. The alien ship didn't attack. Instead, it seemed to watch the human pilot. For a brief moment, the young pilot felt as though the alien ship was studying him, almost as if it were curious about Earth's response. The pilot's transmission was brief. "We won't back down. We'll fight." The response was chilling in its silence. The alien ships didn't respond to the pilot's message, but the feeling in the air shifted. There was something far bigger happening here. Humanity had just become a part of something much larger than they could possibly understand. As the day went on, the aliens continued their strange pattern of attacking Earth's satellites, their weapons precise and calculated. But the real question lingered in the minds of everyone watching. What were the aliens really after? Why hadn't they attacked in full force yet? Were they testing humanity's resolve, or was something else going on? As the days passed, the alien ships remained in Earth's orbit, their silent presence hanging over the planet like an ominous shadow. The attacks had stopped, but the fear lingered. Earth's military forces remained on high alert, preparing for the possibility of a full-scale invasion. Governments around the world tightened security, and global communication channels were filled with reports of strange energy signatures coming from the alien vessels. The world waited, holding its breath. In the midst of the tension, Earth's scientists worked around the clock, trying to decipher the alien technology. Their most pressing question was the same as everyone else's. Why had the aliens attacked Earth's defense systems, but not launched a full assault? The answer seemed elusive. No one could figure out the true intentions of these advanced beings. Some speculated that they were testing humanity's strength, while others believed it was a show of power, a warning that Earth wasn't ready for what was to come. But despite all the theories, no one knew the truth. Then, one morning, a shocking event unfolded. Earth's communications satellites were back online after the alien assault had disabled them, and the first clear message from the aliens was transmitted. It was a simple, yet chilling message that echoed in the hearts of everyone who heard it. "Your world is not as it seems." The message was repeated multiple times across every frequency and every language, making it impossible for anyone to ignore. No further explanation was given, just that haunting sentence. The entire world was thrown into confusion. What did the aliens mean by that? Was it a threat? A warning? Or was it something else? This single statement sent shockwaves throughout the planet. People began speculating that the aliens knew something about Earth that humanity didn't. Were they aware of some ancient secret? Had they uncovered something hidden deep within the planet? The world's leaders scrambled for answers, but there were no easy solutions. No one had any idea what the aliens were talking about. It seemed that the more the humans tried to understand, the further away the answers became. A few days later, the situation took another unexpected turn. Earth's military received a transmission, this time, not from the aliens, but from an unexpected source. A human soldier, stationed in a remote base, had managed to intercept a signal coming from one of the alien ships. The message was garbled and faint, but it contained a disturbing realization. The signal revealed that the aliens had been scanning the surface of Earth, probing its history, its culture, and its people. The message included fragments of ancient texts, images of lost civilizations, and references to events that no one on Earth had even begun to comprehend. It was as if the aliens were not just studying Earth's military defenses, but its past. They had found something buried deep within the planet. The soldier's transmission was cut off before he could finish, and attempts to locate him were unsuccessful. By now, the tension had reached its peak. The entire world was on edge, waiting for the next move. Some thought the aliens were preparing to invade, while others speculated they were looking for something specific. The question on everyone's mind was no longer just about survival. It was about what the aliens were searching for. Then, in the dead of night, everything changed. A single alien ship descended from the clouds, slowly, almost cautiously. It landed in a remote desert in the southwest United States, just outside a small military base. The ship's descent was graceful, almost peaceful, but the gravity of the moment wasn't lost on anyone. This wasn't an invasion. It was a statement. The aliens were showing themselves. But why? Human soldiers surrounded the landing site, weapons drawn, ready for anything. The tension was palpable as the alien ship finally touched down. The ground trembled beneath its massive frame. For a long moment, no one moved. No one knew what to expect. Then, the hatch of the ship slowly opened. A figure stepped out. The creature was humanoid, but unlike anything humans had seen before. Its skin shimmered with a strange, almost metallic hue, and its eyes glowed with a light that seemed to penetrate the very air around it. It didn't speak. Instead, it simply stood there, observing the humans who had gathered around the ship. The soldiers were frozen, unsure of what to do. But then, one soldier stepped forward, his heart racing. He couldn't help himself. He had to know what the alien wanted, what it was doing here. He spoke, his voice trembling. "Why are you here?" The alien didn't respond immediately. Instead, it raised one hand, and a small device appeared in its palm. It pressed the device to its chest, and a holographic display flickered to life. On the display was a map of Earth, a map that showed locations of ancient ruins, buried civilizations, and hidden structures that no one had ever discovered. The alien pointed to one of the locations, then looked back at the soldier, its gaze intense. The soldier stepped back, his mind racing. What was the alien trying to say? What did this map mean? And why was Earth's past so important to them? Before anyone could react, the alien turned and entered its ship, which lifted off the ground silently, disappearing back into the sky. The soldiers stood in stunned silence. They had just witnessed something extraordinary, something they couldn't fully understand. The alien's message was clear. Earth was not just any planet. It was something much more significant than they could imagine. The world watched in awe as the alien ship disappeared into the stars. What did it all mean? And what would happen next? The questions were endless, but one thing was certain. Earth's place in the universe had just changed forever. The next few days were filled with confusion and a deep sense of unease. The alien ship's mysterious visit and the map it had shown were all anyone could talk about. The map had displayed locations that no one on Earth had ever seen before, places buried deep within the planet, hidden for millennia. As much as Earth scientists and military tried to make sense of the aliens' intentions, they couldn't shake the feeling that something much bigger was at play. The world's governments scrambled to gather information. Archaeologists and historians were brought in to study ancient texts and maps, trying to find any clues that might explain what the aliens were after. The map displayed specific areas on Earth, but they were not modern locations. They were ancient, forgotten sites, ruins of civilizations long past, buried beneath layers of soil and rock. This wasn't just about Earth's defenses or military power. The aliens weren't just here for a fight. They were searching for something buried deep within the planet itself. Every country that had access to the map quickly began sending teams to explore the designated locations. Some of the ruins appeared to be well-known ancient sites, like the pyramids of Egypt or the temples in Central America. But others were completely unknown, forgotten by time, and hidden from the rest of the world. There were reports of underground tunnels, massive caverns filled with strange technology, and artifacts that didn't belong to any known civilization. The more they searched, the more they realized that Earth's history was not what it seemed. In one of the remote areas of Siberia, a team of explorers uncovered a massive underground structure that had been buried for centuries. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, an enormous metallic building, covered in strange symbols and glowing with a faint, unnatural light. It was as though the building had been waiting for someone to find it. The moment the explorers stepped inside, they discovered a series of complex devices that looked like they had been designed to interact with advanced technology, not unlike the alien ships they had seen in orbit. The devices seemed to react to their presence, lighting up and whirring to life, as though they were powered by something beyond human understanding. Back at the military command center, the tension was rising. The alien ships had remained in orbit, but they hadn't made any aggressive moves. They had been watching Earth's every move, observing how the humans were reacting. Every time a new discovery was made, the alien ships would shift slightly in position, as though they were keeping track of what was happening on the surface. It was clear to everyone that the aliens weren't just passive observers. They were involved, studying, and waiting for something. One afternoon, a transmission came through, this time, directly from the alien fleet. The message was clear and simple, but it sent a chill down everyone's spine. Your world is not as it seems. The time has come. No one knew what that meant. The time for what? The message was both a warning and a challenge, and it confirmed everyone's worst fears. The aliens were not just here to observe. They were here because something had been found, something that was awakening beneath Earth's surface, something that had been hidden for far too long. As the days went on, more sites were discovered, each one revealing more secrets about Earth's ancient past. But despite all the breakthroughs, no one could find the one thing that seemed to be at the center of the aliens' interest. What was the purpose of all these ruins? What was the aliens' ultimate goal? And why had they come for Earth now? The world's military leaders called an emergency meeting. The alien message had shaken them, and now they needed answers. It was clear that Earth was on the verge of something enormous, but what that something was remained a mystery. As the world leaders debated, a plan began to take shape. They would have to face the aliens, one way or another. But how could they do that when they didn't even know what the aliens wanted? Meanwhile, the alien ships remained silent in orbit, their lights flickering in the distance like distant stars. Every time the humans thought they understood the situation, the aliens seemed to pull back, leaving them in a state of uncertainty. It was almost as if the aliens were testing them, seeing how they would react to each new discovery. It wasn't until a group of archaeologists, deep in the jungles of South America, uncovered a massive stone door, carved with the same strange symbols found on the alien ships, that the pieces began to fall into place. The door opened into a vast underground chamber filled with advanced technology, and in the center of the room, resting on a pedestal, was an object unlike anything Earth had ever seen. It was a sphere made of a material that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. It was as if the object was alive, its surface shifting and changing as though it had a mind of its own. When the archaeologists touched the sphere, something remarkable happened. The room began to shake, and the object began to glow brighter. The air was charged with energy, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. The sphere was responding to their touch. The moment it activated, the alien ships in orbit began to move. They shifted positions, their lights flaring to life, as though they were waiting for this moment. The sphere had triggered something the aliens had been waiting for. At that moment, the truth became clear. Earth had been chosen for a reason. The aliens were not here to destroy or conquer. They were here to reclaim something that had been lost. The object in the chamber was the key to an ancient power, and it was awakening. The aliens had been searching for it, and now they knew that humanity was the key to unlocking its potential. As the soldiers and scientists stood frozen in shock, they realized the gravity of the situation. Earth wasn't just a battleground. It was the location of an ancient force that could change the course of history. But the question remained, could humanity control it, or would they fall victim to the aliens' ultimate plans? The race to discover the secrets of Earth's past was just beginning, and the clock was ticking. The world was now in a state of high alert. The discovery of the ancient sphere and the sudden response of the alien ships left humanity in a state of shock. Earth was not just the site of a simple conflict. It was at the heart of something much larger. The sphere that had been uncovered was not just a relic. It was an artifact of unimaginable power. And as the alien ships hovered above, their intentions became clearer. They weren't here to conquer Earth. They were here to claim something that had been lost for eons. The global response was immediate. Governments scrambled to organize a response, but the true scale of the situation was beyond their understanding. The sphere's activation had unleashed a wave of energy that rippled through the planet, and in the wake of that, strange occurrences began to happen. Devices once thought to be ordinary began to hum with power. Ancient texts, long forgotten, started to glow with a faint light, as if they were reacting to the same energy. It was clear that the activation of the sphere had triggered something across the entire planet. In the jungles of South America, the archaeologists who had found the sphere were not the only ones who felt its power. The ground around the chamber began to tremble as the sky above darkened, and soon, the air itself seemed to hum with an electric charge. The sphere was more than just a key to an ancient civilization. It was a gateway to something much more powerful. But who could control it? In the midst of this chaos, the alien ships remained in orbit, waiting. Their movements were deliberate, slow, as though they were patiently watching Earth's every move. They had known what the sphere was, and had been searching for it for centuries. But now that it was activated, the game had changed. Earth was no longer just a target. It was the center of an ancient conflict, a conflict that no one on Earth had been aware of. As the days passed, reports came in from all corners of the globe. Strange energy surges were being detected. Military bases were experiencing unexplained malfunctions, and in some places, entire cities seemed to disappear into thin air. The world's scientists struggled to make sense of these phenomena, but the answers were elusive. The power unleashed by this sphere was something beyond human understanding. It was not just an ancient technology. It was a force that could bend the very fabric of reality itself. One night, as the tension continued to build, a new development emerged. The alien ships began to move closer to Earth, their formation shifting in a way that suggested they were preparing for something. The lights on the ships flickered, and their energy readings spiked. It was as though they were about to make their move, but no one knew what that move would be. Then, just as the situation seemed to reach its breaking point, a new message came through. It was not from the aliens, but from a human source. A military commander, stationed near the site of the sphere's activation, sent a transmission to the world leaders. He had made a discovery, an old hidden file that had been classified for decades. The file contained information about a secret project that had been started long before the aliens arrived. This project, known only as Project Dawn, was an initiative to harness ancient, unknown technology buried deep beneath Earth's surface. It was clear now that the project had been connected to the very sphere that had been activated. The file revealed that Earth's governments had known about the sphere for years, but had kept its existence hidden. Project Dawn was an effort to unlock its secrets and tap into its power, but for reasons unknown, the project had been abandoned. The file also contained a warning. The power within the sphere was dangerous, and if it fell into the wrong hands, it could destroy not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The aliens, it seemed, had known this all along. They had been searching for the sphere not because they wanted to destroy humanity, but because they needed it. They needed the power it contained to fuel their own civilization. The realization hit the world with full force. Humanity was caught in the middle of a galactic struggle. The aliens were not just invaders. They were players in a much larger game, and Earth's ancient power was the key to their survival. But now, Earth's leaders had a choice to make. They could either try to harness the sphere's power for themselves, risking the consequences, or they could give it to the aliens, who might use it to restore their own dying empire. As the tension reached a boiling point, another transmission came through, this time from the alien fleet. It was a simple message, but one that held a chilling weight. You have awakened it. Now we must decide what to do with it. The situation had grown even more urgent. The alien fleet was preparing to land, and they were not coming for diplomacy. Earth had a matter of days to decide the fate of the sphere and the planet. But the problem was that no one had the slightest idea how to control the sphere, or if it could even be controlled. The very thing that had drawn the aliens to Earth was now a ticking time bomb, and humanity was standing right on top of it. In the midst of the growing chaos, Earth's leaders realized the truth. No matter what choice they made, they were already too far in. The sphere was a power unlike any other, and humanity had just unlocked the doorway to an ancient force. Whether they would be able to control it, or whether the aliens would take it from them, remained to be seen. But one thing was certain. Earth was no longer just a battleground for military power. It had become the focal point of an ancient conflict that would shape the future of the entire galaxy. The decision to face the aliens had been made. The world's leaders, after days of tense debates, had no choice but to prepare for a confrontation. But even with the knowledge they had gained about Project Dawn and the warnings that had come through the hidden file, the humans were no closer to understanding the full scope of the power they were dealing with. The alien ships still hovered above Earth, their intentions unclear, but their movements were growing more deliberate. The calm before the storm was over. Meanwhile, the mysterious sphere remained at the heart of the chaos. Its energy continued to surge, and the strange occurrences around the globe intensified. In some places, the very air seemed to crackle with power. Power plants malfunctioned, causing widespread blackouts, and some cities experienced sudden bursts of energy that left entire neighborhoods shaken. The world's top scientists were working around the clock to find a way to understand or control the energy from the sphere, but their efforts were slow and disorganized. It was clear that this was not something they could simply study. They were dealing with a force far beyond human understanding. As the alien ships drew closer, humanity's leaders realized that Earth had become a chessboard, and the stakes could not be higher. If they could somehow harness the power of the sphere, they might be able to stand against the alien fleet. But even if they succeeded, would they be able to control it? The unknown dangers were too many to count. They were facing not just an alien invasion, but a power struggle of cosmic proportions. The alien ships began to descend toward Earth, breaking their orbit and heading toward the surface. Their movements were precise and coordinated, a testament to their advanced technology. But no one knew where they were heading or what they planned to do once they landed. All that was certain was that the aliens were coming, and they were bringing their full force with them. On the ground, tensions were rising. Military forces from all corners of the world were mobilizing, positioning themselves in the most strategic locations. They knew they could not stop the alien ships with conventional weapons. No amount of firepower would be enough to stop their superior technology. The key, they realized, lay with the sphere. They had to find a way to unlock its potential before the aliens did. In the jungles of South America, the excavation of the ancient site continued. The sphere had become the focal point of the entire world's efforts. Scientists, military leaders, and archaeologists worked together to find a way to unlock its secrets. But the more they studied it, the more they realized that they were only scratching the surface. The sphere's energy was unlike anything they had encountered before. It was not just a power source. It was a gateway, a doorway to something much greater. As the days passed, the situation became more desperate. The alien ships were now only hours away from landing. Earth's military was ready for a fight, but no one knew what kind of fight it would be. The aliens had never shown aggression. They had only observed, waiting for something. But the moment the ships landed, Earth's leaders knew that everything would change. The war for control of the sphere would begin, and humanity had to be ready. And then, in the final hours before the alien ships touched down, a breakthrough came. One of the scientists working with the sphere discovered something remarkable. The object was not just a power source. It was a communication device designed to interact with advanced alien technology. The sphere was not merely a tool for destruction. It was a key that could unlock vast amounts of knowledge and power. But who could control it? And more importantly, who had the right to control it? The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. This was the answer they had been looking for. The sphere could be used to communicate directly with the alien fleet, but the implications were huge. If the aliens could connect to it, they would gain access to the same knowledge and technology that had been buried on Earth for centuries. And if the humans gained control of it first, they would be able to fight back in a way that no one had ever imagined. The question now was whether humanity could figure out how to use the sphere's power in time. The alien fleet was closing in, and every second that passed felt like an eternity. Earth's military leaders knew that once the ships landed, there would be no going back. The time for preparation was almost over. In the final hours before the alien ships made contact with the planet, the atmosphere on Earth was thick with tension. People across the globe gathered in their homes, watching the skies, waiting for the inevitable. Governments were on edge, unsure of what to expect next. Would the aliens come in peace, as some hoped? Or would they come to claim Earth's ancient power for themselves? Then the first alien ship landed. It descended slowly, its massive form casting a long shadow across the ground. The moment its landing gear touched the Earth's surface, the ground shook. The sound of engines powering down echoed across the landscape. It was a moment unlike any other in human history, and as the doors of the ship began to open, humanity held its breath, ready for whatever was to come. But what the humans didn't expect was a message, a transmission from the alien ship. This time, it wasn't just a simple greeting. The message was a warning, a final challenge. You have unlocked the power of the sphere. Now, the true test begins. The one who controls it will decide the fate of this world and the galaxy. Will it be your species, or will it be ours? As the alien ships began to disembark their crew, the tension reached its peak. The race for control of the sphere was on, and the battle for Earth's future had begun. The outcome of this conflict would shape not just the fate of the planet, but the future of the galaxy itself. The question now was clear. Who would hold the key to Earth's ancient power? And would humanity be ready to fight for it? The alien ships had landed, and the world held its collective breath. Humanity stood on the precipice of a new era, unsure of what would happen next. The first contact, however, was not what anyone expected. The doors of the alien ships opened slowly, and out came figures that were tall and sleek, their movements graceful and unnerving. They were humanoid, but their features were alien. Slender bodies, pale skin, and eyes that seemed to shimmer with an unnatural glow. The silence between them and Earth's leaders was deafening. The aliens didn't speak immediately. They simply stood, as if observing the humans, sizing them up. The tension was thick in the air, and Earth's military stood at the ready, weapons pointed toward the alien ships, but knowing deep down that they were powerless. This was not a battle they could win with brute force. The real war was going to be a battle of wills, a struggle for control of the sphere, which held unimaginable power. Earth's leaders had made their choice. They would try to negotiate with the aliens, but deep down, they knew the risks. The sphere, after all, wasn't just a tool, it was a key to something far greater, something no one fully understood. If the aliens gained control of it, the galaxy could be at their mercy. If humanity could unlock its full potential, they might finally stand a chance of not just surviving, but thriving among the stars. The first alien to step forward was tall, its face expressionless, but its eyes flashing with a strange intelligence. It spoke, its voice calm and measured, though there was a hint of something more underneath. You have awakened it, the power of the ancients. The sphere is ours by right, for it belongs to those who have the knowledge to control it. The words were chilling. There was no room for negotiation, no hint of diplomacy. The aliens had made their intentions clear. They had come to take what they believed was rightfully theirs. A wave of fear swept over Earth's leaders. They had underestimated how desperate the aliens were. They had thought that the sphere's power could be harnessed for humanity's benefit, that they might use it to defend themselves. But now it seemed that they were merely pawns in a much larger game. The aliens were not interested in cooperation. They had come to claim the sphere and its power, regardless of the consequences. One of Earth's top military leaders, General Marcus Hargrave, stepped forward. His voice was steady, but there was a hint of urgency in his tone. We won't let you take it. The sphere is a part of this planet, a part of humanity's future. You may have the technology, but we have the will to fight for our survival. The alien's eyes flickered for a moment, and it tilted its head slightly, as though processing the human's words. Then it responded, its voice cold and firm. You misunderstand. This is not a fight you can win. You cannot control the power within the sphere. We are the ones who will decide how it is used, not you. But then, something unexpected happened. As the alien spoke, a strange pulse of energy shot out from the sphere, illuminating the entire area. For a brief moment, the alien seemed to falter, its expression showing a hint of confusion, something no one had expected. The sphere was reacting to the presence of the aliens, but in a way that no one could predict. General Hargrave, sensing an opportunity, motioned to the nearby military scientists who had been studying the sphere. They had been working day and night to uncover its secrets, but they had not anticipated this reaction. The pulse of energy seemed to have triggered a response from the aliens, something that was both unsettling and revealing. The alien stepped back, its eyes narrowing as if it had just realized something crucial. It raised its hand, signaling the other ships to remain still. Then the alien turned back to the human leaders. The sphere is reacting to you, not as it reacts to us. You have the potential to unlock its true power. For a moment, no one spoke. Earth's leaders exchanged wary glances. Could this be the opening they had been hoping for? Could it be that humanity wasn't just a helpless bystander in this galactic struggle, but a player with a role to play in this ancient conflict? The silence that followed was broken by the sudden appearance of another message. This time, it wasn't from the alien leader, but from Earth's own scientists. A breakthrough had occurred. They had discovered that the energy from the sphere had begun to resonate with certain frequencies that were uniquely human. It seemed that humanity, in some unknown way, was connected to the sphere in a manner that no one had anticipated. The sphere, it seemed, recognized the potential of humans to control its power. The news sent shockwaves through Earth's leaders. If this discovery was true, it meant that humanity had the power to use the sphere, perhaps in ways that the aliens couldn't even comprehend. The alien leader's tone shifted again, but now there was something different in its voice, a hint of urgency. You are not prepared to wield this power. No one is. It will destroy you all. But it was too late. The revelation had already set in motion events that could not be undone. Humanity had just been given a chance to fight back in a way they never thought possible. They had discovered the key to the sphere's power, and now they had to figure out how to unlock it before the aliens could. With the alien ships still hovering above, the time for negotiations was over. The battle for the sphere and the future of humanity was about to begin. It would be a race against time, a fight to control an ancient power that could either save or destroy them all. General Hargrave knew that humanity could not afford to fail. The fate of Earth and the galaxy rested on their shoulders. The coming days would be the most crucial in human history. And as the alien ships loomed above, Earth's leaders prepared for the fight of their lives, one that would decide if humanity would rule the stars or if they would be lost in the cosmic dust forever. The air was thick with tension as the alien ships remained suspended above Earth's surface, their engines humming with a barely contained power. The first contact had not gone as expected, but now, humanity had been thrust into a deadly game for control of the sphere and its ancient power. General Hargrave stood on the command bridge of the human fleet, his eyes locked on the massive alien ships, his thoughts racing. The alien leader had made it clear that humanity wasn't ready to wield the sphere's power, but what choice did they have now? The scientists had confirmed what they feared. The sphere resonated with human energy in ways that the aliens didn't understand. But what did that mean? Was humanity the key to unlocking its full potential, or were they simply being used as pawns in a game far beyond their comprehension? Whatever the truth was, the alien fleet above them wouldn't wait much longer. They would either surrender the sphere or face the consequences. The tension in the air was palpable as Earth's forces prepared for a showdown. But this wasn't going to be a typical war. The weapons they had relied on in the past would be useless against the advanced alien technology. This was a battle of control, a struggle to wield the sphere's immense power before the aliens could. The stakes had never been higher. General Hargrave gave the order to launch Earth's first counteroffensive. The military was ready, but they knew they couldn't win by force alone. They had to understand the sphere's energy, and they had to do it fast. Meanwhile, the alien leader, standing atop the main alien ship, watched the humans' movements with growing concern. The reaction from the sphere had been unexpected. It wasn't supposed to recognize humans, but now it seemed as if the sphere had chosen its side, or at least it was showing humanity a power that was previously untapped. The alien leader's eyes narrowed. Something had shifted. Humanity had been underestimated, but this was not the end of the story. The aliens had the upper hand in knowledge and technology, but that didn't mean they would be unchallenged. The alien fleet began to descend in a coordinated pattern, their ships aligned perfectly, their weapons charged. Earth's forces scrambled to intercept, but the alien technology was far superior. Even with their newfound understanding of the sphere, humanity's military was no match for the power the aliens wielded. But then, the unexpected happened again. From the heart of the sphere came a surge of energy, brighter than anything humanity had seen before. It shot out in waves, enveloping the battlefield, throwing the alien ships into disarray. Earth's forces felt it too. The power from the sphere coursed through their systems, syncing with their technology, giving them an unprecedented advantage. But there was no time to analyze it. They had to act now. The alien ships faltered, their energy fields flickering. The humans weren't just reacting to the power of the sphere. They were controlling it, channeling its energy into their weapons and technology in ways that the aliens couldn't replicate. General Hargrave gave the order to strike, and Earth's forces launched their full-scale attack. For the first time in history, humanity had the upper hand. The alien leader watched in disbelief as Earth's military began to outmaneuver them. The energy from the sphere was too much, too unpredictable. The aliens had always relied on their superior technology, but now they were facing an enemy that seemed to adapt faster than they could respond. It was as if the sphere was not just a weapon, but a sentient force, one that had chosen humanity to be its bearer. But the alien leader wasn't one to give up easily. A new command was issued, an order to activate the alien fleet's most powerful weapon, something that would change the course of the battle. As the weapon powered up, the ground trembled, and a beam of pure energy shot from the main alien ship, slicing through Earth's defenses. The human forces were caught off guard by the intensity of the attack. For a moment, it seemed as though the aliens might still win. Yet the sphere responded. The energy surged again, this time more intensely than before, forming a protective shield around Earth's forces. The beam from the alien ship struck the shield, but it couldn't break through. Instead, it was absorbed, and the power from the alien weapon was redirected back toward the alien fleet. The aliens gasped as their own energy turned against them. The shields of their ships flickered and failed as the energy from the sphere overpowered them. In a flash, the alien ships began to malfunction, their systems crashing one by one. Earth's forces took advantage of the moment, launching a final assault. General Hargrave watched as the alien ships fell one by one, their massive forms spiraling out of control. The battle was almost won. The aliens had underestimated humanity's resilience, their determination to survive, and the untapped power of the sphere. What had started as an impossible fight had turned into an unprecedented victory for Earth. But as the last of the alien ships fell from the sky, the question remained, what would happen next? The sphere, now completely under humanity's control, pulsed with power. The world was forever changed, but the power they now wielded was both a blessing and a curse. They had defeated the aliens, but what other forces would seek the power of the sphere? Would humanity be able to control it, or would it destroy them in the end? General Hargrave stood at the front of the command center, looking out over the world below. Earth had won, but the war for control of the stars was far from over. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated, but they had also learned that the true cost of power could be far greater than anyone could imagine. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Earth's place in the galaxy had changed forever, and the story of humanity's rise to power had only just begun.